Life.
Real life.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Sassy AF TV. I'm Hallie with Sassy Healthy Fit, and I'm so excited to have Vanessa McWilliams with me today. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe and also ring the bell so you get notifications of new episodes. And if you're watching this anywhere else, make sure that you are following, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at Sassy Healthy Fit, so you're not missing any of our upcoming Sassy AF TV interviews. Well, I'm super excited to have my guest, Vanessa McWilliams, here today. Actually, Vanessa, you are my first international guest since you're in Canada. So, yep.
That's awesome.
I feel like I need like a or a boot, or I feel like I need some Canadian jargon going on. I actually have some family in Canada, and I've met a lot of people in Canada. I feel like I always have a good connection with Canadians. You guys are so
hilarious.
I love it.
Anytime I travel anywhere, people are like, "Are you from Canada?" I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know. I'm just nice. I don't know if we're all nice. I don't know. But
I love it. It's great. I think everybody should be nice. I'm a nice person too. Maybe I was meant to be from Canada. I don't know. But Vanessa, tell us a little bit about yourself. You have an amazing story. I know you are you a kindness coach? Is that how you would describe yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your official title is.
So technically, I am a motivational speaker, and I'm a self-esteem, self-love revolution coach, which kind of embodies building your self-esteem as well as using kindness to your advantage. My youngest son has decided to join me in the room, so mom life. This is the work of mom life. Yeah, when I was 9 years old, I was diagnosed with a disease called alopecia, which made all of my hair fall out, as you can tell. And I struggled growing up as a kid. I had zero self-esteem. I really struggled with trying to figure out where I belonged in the world as a bald girl. Being 9 years old, growing into a teenager is kind of the pivotal part of your life where you really try and figure out your identity and who you are.
Right.
And it was horrible for me. I was teased relentlessly as a teenager. The kids that I used to go to school with bullied and teased me to the point where I tried to take my life twice as a teenager. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. And I understand now that everything I went through is for a purpose, because I've learned the greatest compassion from what I've gone through. And it's taught me the greatest lessons, because had I not gone through all of the hard stuff, I wouldn't be able to come from a place of love in my life where I am now and be able to help other people. So I look back and it was really hard, but like I said, it was like the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me was losing my hair, because now I get to help other women and other kids find who they truly are and fall in love with that person. I'm very much against beauty standards, the beauty industry. I really strive to try and show people and inspire people that who you are is good enough, and you don't have to change who you are in order to feel worthy and be worthy and feel beautiful and confident, because what makes you different is ultimately where your power lies. And so that's my greatest message. And I do speaking events. I talk to women's groups, business groups. A couple years back, I believe it was about 8 years ago, I was very much into wearing wigs. I wore wigs for quite a few years as a teenager and then into adulthood, because I felt like that's who I needed to be to show up in the world, was having hair.
Right.
And growing up, they didn't have appropriate wig options for kids. They were pretty awful, like your standard old lady, thick haired wigs. And I knew growing up that was kind of the only option I had, but it kind of fueled the fire for more teasing and more bullying, because people knew that it was fake hair.
Right.
And so when I became, I think I was about 22 years old, I decided, after having a run-in with a wig shop owner who embarrassed me in front of a salon full of women, that I didn't want to do the dance anymore, and I wanted to change what I could change. And I created my own wig company 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I used to go into people's homes. It was a mobile wig salon. So instead of having people go into a salon and feel embarrassed or A salon is a place where women go to get pampered.
Right.
I've never had my hair done in a salon, so I don't know what that feels like, but to go in and get like your nails or something done feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have to go in to try and find a wig, most of the time you want confidentiality because most people don't want to have other people know they wear a wig. So
right.
The greatest thing that they could offer me at the time was to be put into this small little wig room in the back of their shop. And it was embarrassing. And it was just, the whole experience was shame based for me.
Yeah.
And after having this run in, I left and I called my mom and she's like, what are you going to do about it? And the next day ordered business cards. I put some decals on my truck shortly after. I created a little website and put on Facebook, I'm starting a wig company. And it ended up blowing up. And I met so many amazing women through that 5 years that I ran it, that the last year of my business, I ended up going into the red. And I realized I'm coaching more people out of buying wigs from me and loving who they are.
You're like, wait, I need to do this.
I know. I was like, this isn't okay. I can't run a business. Like, I got to the point where my integrity was on the line because I'm like, I can't be the CEO of a wig company, but then also be moving into a place where my confidence was growing as a bald person and, sharing that message that you're good enough however you are, but cover yourself up and buy a wig from me. Like,
right.
I couldn't do it any longer. So I sold that company to a very good friend of mine who still runs it. And it's amazing. It's still helping people, which is the greatest thing it could do for people. And I went off into motivational speaking and life coaching, and it's been an incredible ride. I am just, I can't say enough about it. I just love what I do. So.
Well, I can tell. I mean, we've only known each other a short time, but in that time, I mean, you just exude happiness and confidence, and you have the best smile. I mean, every time and we've never actually met in real life other than like this, but whenever I see your, video or talking, I mean, you have a very just, your energy literally comes through the screen. So I can see why you're very magnanimous.
Thanks.
I do have a question. I'm curious, and this just popped into my head, but I think about, my daughter has really thick, long, gorgeous hair. She's blessed with that for sure. And, she's grown it her whole life. And we've talked about many times, like, would you ever be interested in donating it? Because she's had a lot of friends that have donated their hair. And that seems to be kind of a trend, I would say. And I'm curious if you've noticed any uptick in that kind of behavior, which I think is a very generous offering. But I've noticed that, like, when I was a kid, I'd never even heard of that, or really until recently. That was just not something that was even on my radar. So I'm just curious, do you think that's because there's more people that are needing wigs and they have this issue like you were talking about where the wigs were so atrocious and so fake looking and causing all this extra shame? I'm just curious if you have any insight on that.
I don't know I don't exactly know, like, if it's because there's more mainstream media talking about it or if it's because wigs are becoming more acceptable in society now. Mm-hmm. But I know myself, like when I was running my wig company, my dog's bugging me, get down. When I was running, everyone just wants my attention right now.
Of course they do.
Right? When I was running my wig company, I actually volunteered my time for a company called Angel Hair for Wigs or Angel Hair for Kids. And it's based out of Toronto. And I forewarn my friends, if you're my friend and you have long hair, be warned that I, at one point, am going to try and get you to donate your hair.
Right.
And I've done events in the past. I did a hair raising gala in 2013, and we donated a whole bunch of ponytails of hair for kids to Angel Hair. But being on the receiving end of that, like as one of their volunteers through my company, I used to go and actually take the hair, like the wigs that were made with the donated hair, and go and take them and fit them on kids that needed them free of charge. And I think, like, when people think of hair donation, they just think like, oh, I'm just going to cut my hair and put it in a bag and send it away. But to see the kids on the receiving end of that who may not get an appropriate wig for themselves if they're going through cancer or alopecia or diabetes, sometimes I've heard has, medications you take, you make your hair fall out. Like, there's such an array of different ailments that kids go through. To see a child get an appropriate wig is the most amazing thing in the world.
Oh,
not as good as having a kid embrace who they are, right? But like it's the same thing.
But kids are mean. Kids are mean. I mean,
adults are worse.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's
because kids learn it from somewhere, right? And they learn it from us.
Right. So we got to start changing that. Yeah. That's interesting. Well, and I think that there's, I mean, for sure, I see both sides of that. Gosh, I can imagine like the strength it took you also to go from owning a wig company to shifting and pivoting to, talking to your customers, like you said, out of that and embracing who they are as a bald. No, was this men too or just women?
Just women and children.
Okay. But really to embrace, who they are as they are, with all of their differences. I'm curious though, I want to go back for a moment and talk a little bit about your journey. Clearly, going through this at 9, I can imagine that being it's a traumatic time kind of for everybody, right? Like as you transition from being a child into the preteen years, into the teen years, like that's a hard time of life regardless of whatever circumstances you might go through. So to have a physical issue that makes you that much more different than everybody else when all you want to do probably is blend in like most people do at that age, right? That makes it more difficult. And you talked about, attempting to take your life twice. What was the turning point where you were able to transition out from the shame and I can imagine the despair and just the really negative self-image? How did you transition that into not even necessarily where you are today, but like turning the corner? What was that time period like?
There's been 2 different moments in my life that have been pivotal. The first one was right after I attempted to take my life the second time. I was 16. I had a horrible day at school. I was bullied relentlessly by 2 groups of kids. And that day I'd had enough. I grabbed my backpack at lunchtime. I walked out the front of my school doors without signing out or nothing. It was about a 20-minute walk home. And the whole time I knew like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I've had enough. I let myself in my house. I walked up to my parents' room. I grabbed a bottle of pain reliever and I ate a jumbo bottle of Econo size or whatever it is, pain reliever by myself. As I stood and I stared at myself in the mirror and I cried and I screamed at myself and I told myself all the things that all the kids had been telling me for years, that I'm ugly and that I'm stupid and baldy was the big word. And I went in my room and I went to bed. And I don't know how many hours it was later that my mom woke me up and she was standing in my bedroom door and she was surprised I was home. And I remember her coming in and telling me that dinner was going to be ready. And I laid there and I was like, why, I woke up and I was like, why am I sleeping? Like, why am I in bed? I couldn't remember like the events before. And she left my room and immediately all of a sudden I thought to myself, oh my God, what have I done? And like I said, I don't know how I lost track of that time. I don't know if that is a blessing or what. But I don't know how much time passed, but I knew something was really wrong. And all of a sudden in my mind, clear as day, I heard not you. And that was, and I still to this day cannot explain that. But I ran to my bathroom and I made myself sick. And I just literally prayed that I wasn't too late. Because I just realized like there's something. I still hated who I was. I still felt all the same feelings, but there was this tiny sliver of something that I grasped onto. And I just thought to myself, I can't just do this. This can't be the end. And so it was a couple of years later that,
woo,
pardon me.
I said, I just got chills when you said that. Wow.
I can't explain it. And it is the most pivotal moment of my life because there were hours, like I've been told that the amount of pain relievers that I took that day, I should not have still been conscious or whatever. And so for it to have done nothing to me is nothing short of a miracle in my sense. Like there's a bigger purpose for why that didn't happen. But the other pivotal moment in my life was after that, like I said, I still didn't like who I was. I still didn't, embrace myself. I didn't accept myself as who I am. I got really hard into drugs and alcohol to try and numb the pain of what I was feeling. And there was a day that I realized, after I had been, I'd hurt my parents, I had hurt my best friends, I had hurt everybody in my life. My greatest goal as a teenager was to hurt you before you could hurt me. And I was really, really good at it. And the turning point in that part of my life was that I realized one day that I was hurting the people that I loved the most and who were there to support me, like alopecia was hurting me. And I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't let this destroy my life. Like, there had to be a better way. So that was kind of the turning point for me, where I thought there has to be a way that I can embrace this somehow. And that kind of slowly just started the ball rolling. And then I got into self-development, and that's really where things kind of took a turn, and I was able to really embrace who I am and do the work and figure out why I am the way I am and what I can do to help myself. So yeah.
That's powerful. I mean, that's incredible, first of all, that you went through that journey and are able to be where you're at now, and that you recognize that, within yourself. And I'm wondering, is there a person that you can attribute to kind of both of these pivotal moments? I know you said when you heard the voice that said, not you, you can't explain that. And, throughout my life, I've kind of, I struggled with, is there a higher power? Is there a God? What is the bigger purpose? And, I go back and forth, and sometimes I believe it and sometimes I don't. At this point in time, I definitely believe in the universe, and I believe in, a higher power of some sort. I don't know exactly what that is. And for me, it's not a religious connotation, but, what really strikes me with you, Vanessa, is that you have a lot of self-confidence, but also self-motivation. And I don't run across that often, I feel like. And I'm curious, is there a person that you can attribute to this for you, or how did you start doing the self-development and the self-work? Like, what got you to that point?
Really, I was the one who started kind of the ball rolling. I knew that I needed something. I knew that I wanted to learn. I needed to grow. I had a lot of baggage from my past, and I didn't know how to do that on my own, to start unpacking that and healing it. Healing has been the number one thing that I've wanted to do my whole life. Like, since I was 9 years old, was try and mend my heart, because my alopecia broke me. And I was ultimately the first one who started my journey for myself, just kind of becoming self-aware and everything. And that's why I started the wig company at first, was because I wanted to make it different for someone else. Because if I couldn't fix me, I could at least help other people that are coming up behind me, right? And so the wig company became really a pivotal catalyst for my own healing, even though I was helping other people. It really, through helping other people, healed me. And then once I began kind of on that journey, I began going to a seminar called Transformation Weekend, which has been the life changer for me. My good friend Erin Kelly, this was about 10 years ago. It's coming up on the 10-year anniversary now this year. About 10 years ago, she had put on Facebook that she has this seminar and she wants to do it for family and friends. And, I bought a ticket and I took a couple friends with me, and I fell in love with it. What I got out of that at first it was a day long, and now it's a 3-day. What I got out of that first day, I left and I knew, like, there's something here. I got more out of that day learning about myself than I had ever had in the at that point 3 or 4 years of running my wig company. Or no, that would have been that's totally wrong math. I'm thinking this is 10 years ago and I ran my company 8 years ago. Oh my God, this math thing is hard today.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it was just like, it felt like home, if that makes sense. I felt like I belonged somewhere. And I've never felt like I've belonged anywhere in my entire life. So I just, every year I kept going back and I would budget for it. There were some years where I couldn't budget for it. So my husband's like, just go, you have to just go. So we figured out a way and I went. And yeah, I've gone every single year since. And now I'm one of the master trainers and I actually teach the event that changed my life. So it's the only thing I can say that's attributed to, you know, to be the catalyst of change in my life is just doing the hard work and getting really honest with myself.
Right.
About who I am and what I want to do when I grow up. Right.
Right.
And who I want to help and how I want to change the world. And a lot of our attendees don't want to do huge, big things, and that's okay. And some of our attendees want to do massive things, and that's okay too. But yeah, that's been the biggest catalyst for me, is just having somebody outside of family and friends look at you and believe in you has been the greatest thing for me.
That's awesome. Well, and you know, I want to just honor the fact that you have so much drive and motivation to do this yourself, to, you know, put yourself in that position to go to the weekend, for example, every year, and to budget for it, even go when you can't budget for it, and to recognize that, you know, you needed to do the work even though it was hard. One of the things that I try to, you know, what I would like in my messaging to communicate, especially to women, is that you have to do the work. There's no magic answer, no magic pill to any of our issues. Like, we all have shit that we go through, is the bottom line, to varying degrees, of course, and it's going to ebb and flow throughout your life. But at the end of the day, no one can hold your hand 100% of the time, and it's going to be hard, and you have to kind of suck it up and deal with it. Mm-hmm. And you can get help and you can have support, and that's, you know, what we all need. We all need community and support and love. Mm-hmm. But I really feel strongly that we know the answers within ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we have to dig deep within ourselves to persevere and to make the change. And if you just say, I don't want to do it, well, you're not going to have any change. So, you know, it's not an easy ride for anybody. And I feel strongly that, you know, you hear this a lot. People think, oh, well, they're just lucky, or they had this overnight success, or, you know, they had all this money from before, or they have really good genetics, so they look a certain way, whatever, right? Yeah. You hear this all the time. And really, the reality is that's probably not true. Like, you don't know everybody's story, but most likely, you know, there is no such thing as the overnight success. That person was probably working for 10 years, working their ass off to get to where they're at, or whatever the case may be. So, you know, if anyone thinks that it's just an easy ride, that's not the case.
It's never. And that's one of the things, like, with my coaching, is people that, like, when I do my intake and I have my first initial session with somebody, I very lovingly tell them, like, I don't want your surface shit. I don't want you showing up telling me, like, I want to lose weight. Why? Like, let's figure out what your triggers are. Let's figure out where that need for you thinking that losing weight is going to make you feel worthy. Like, where does that come from? Like, I don't want the tree. I don't want the garden planted around the tree. I want the roots. Like, we're going to get into the roots of where that comes from. And that's the thing, like, nothing is overnight success. Nobody is lucky. It is the number one question I get asked if I do speaking events and stuff is, how am I so confident being a bald girl? A lot of fucking hard work. Like, it's not just a matter of, I swear, by the way, I get all feisty. I get spicy.
I like it. Spicy is good.
It's not just a matter of me saying, I'm a bald woman, deal with it, and I walk out the door. I fight for myself every single day, because I still have the itty bitty shitty committee that talks in the back of my mind that tells me I'm ugly, I'm not good enough, yada, yada, yada. But I have worked really hard to create context in my mind that counteracts that. And I've worked really hard building up my self-esteem to the point where I actually believe it about myself, not the shit that the itty bitty shitty committee tells me. But I've worked very, yes, I named her one time. I think her name was Glenda or something, but it just didn't have the same bell. So, but no, it is hard work, but it's so worth it. And it looks different for everybody. Some people have journeys that take 6 months. Some people have 10-year journeys like myself, but don't let that deter you from starting. Like, you can't look at the finish line of trying to figure out your self-esteem and your confidence and stuff. Like, it's going to be an everyday thing that you work on. But I can tell you right now, 10-year-old, 10 years past me, God, I look back at that girl and I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for her, but it's been a lot of hard work. There's no such thing as overnight success. You don't see the hours logged at night. You don't see the hours that you don't get paid creating a coaching course and stuff. Like, you don't see that stuff. Social media is really good for seeing people's highlight reels.
Right.
So I try and stay off social media as much as I can, other than for business and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, you can't worry about what other people are doing. You got to stay in your own damn lane.
Right. Right.
So,
no, I totally agree. So I like this concept of, the itty bitty shitty committee and talking yourself off of that and telling yourself every day I'm working hard. I know you talk a lot about and teach your clients about overcoming limiting beliefs. Can you walk us through, what are some other practical, tactical teachings that you have to overcome the limiting beliefs that might exist for us?
So a limiting belief is something that we've been taught somewhere down the line, whether it's from family, a caregiver, or media that has just been ingrained in you so much that you begin to believe that it's fact and that it's true, when in fact it's not fact and it's not true. So for myself, one of my limiting beliefs growing up was that I'm not good enough, because that's what I was told through words from people at school and whatever, that I'm not good enough. I'm bald. I don't have hair, which means, it equates to I'm not beautiful and all those things, which ate away at my self-esteem. The other limiting belief that quite a few people struggle with, and I still struggle with it sometimes, is things about money, that, people get stuck in a way of thinking that there's never enough money. And that can sometimes come from, I remember growing up, I'd ask my parents if we could go to McDonald's, and I remember them saying, we don't have enough money. And it wasn't just for that. It was, compounded over lots of different things, but that became my limiting belief as well, is that, to gain self-esteem is hard. People that are confident are bitches, right? Like, they're just the celebrity people who don't care about anybody else but themselves. They're full of themselves, which is not true, we know. And about money is that money is hard to get, and people who have a lot of money are greedy. And, those are limiting beliefs that I had, of no fault of anybody's growing up, but just from what I had taken in as a kid. And for me, I really had to dig deep and do the work to figure out, where did those come from? Like, I had to try and remember the experiences that I had growing up that really became my truth, even though they weren't fact. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's hard to, I usually get people to write down, what's something that goes through your mind that holds you back.
Right.
That's a limiting belief. Write that down, and then figure out, where do you have memories of that happening? Like, where do you remember hearing that or feeling like that is what you're being told, or whatever?
Right.
Like I said, media is really awful for that. You see the Pantene commercials and you see the shampoo. I mean, I don't have that problem, but still, the shampoo commercials come on and you have to have this beautiful, thick hair. Yeah, exactly. You got to do the swimming pool flip. I've never seen anyone successfully do that. It's, but that was a limiting belief for me, is that I'm not good enough because I don't have hair.
Right.
And I really had to just dig down and figure out that that's just a lie my brain is telling me. That comes from my subconscious. That is just on replay, because back when we were cavemen, it was fight or flight, right? It's safety. And so people want to live in their comfort zone because that's where you're safe and that's where you're comfortable and nothing bad happens there. But a limiting belief will keep you there, and it keeps you from growing. And so for me, with my self-esteem, I really had to figure out, like, I am good enough. My hair doesn't define me.
Right.
Like, whether I have hair or not is mute. Like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
The money limitations, greedy people, people that have lots of money aren't always greedy. People that have lots of money could be Ellen, that
Right.
gives away most of her money, right?
And she is, right.
Exactly. And that's who I want to be when I grow up, is not Ellen, but I want to be that big on that scale, because I want to give back and inspire people on that magnitude of a platform. That's ultimately what I want to be when I grow up. But that's the thing, like, you really have to figure out what the things are that's holding you back, that you hear in your mind, and dig to the root of where you heard that from.
Right.
And just keep telling yourself that's bullshit, because over here, like, here's the crap that you're telling yourself, and then counteract it with, okay, I'm not good enough, but I really am. I created a successful business. I helped thousands of people. I've coached hundreds of people. I've talked to thousands of people on stages. I have, like, instant messages from people who have said I've helped change their life. Like, so you've got to figure out what your limiting belief is, and then you got to counteract it with the things that you know are true. I have helped thousands of people. Like, this little, you're not good enough, it's not fact. This is fact.
Right.
Right. And that's what I've done, is there's so much more to it, but that's in a nutshell. Right.
No, I think that's awesome. The other thing too that comes to mind, and I talked about that this morning, I was talking about self-love, and I actually was talking to my husband, and he was telling me this story about a woman who had an amputation of some sort, and she he saw this online or something, but anyway, she looks in the mirror every day and, like, physically touches her body and repeats to herself that she's beautiful and sexy, and it's empowering for her, and it's, and it's self-love, and it's affirmations, right? And that to her is really important, because she's missing a body part. And so, that's really obvious when she's looking in the mirror that it's not there. And so for her, it's a reminder. So, that kind of inspired me to do the same. And so when I was getting ready this morning, I was looking in the mirror, just looking in my, like, close up, and I repeated to myself, I love you. I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am inspirational, all these different affirmations. And it was a little bit weird, to be honest, because I'm just looking right at myself. But you know what? It felt so freaking good. And so this is the message that I shared this morning about self-love, because yes, we all have those limiting beliefs. And the reality is, I don't think they ever go away. I think even Ellen has limiting beliefs, and she is a powerhouse, right? And we all see her on stage, and we see her on her show and hear her speak. And, she makes us laugh, and she's inspiring. We're thinking, oh gosh, this woman, she's got it down. But I guarantee she also has the itty bitty shitty committee telling her something, right? Like, whatever it is. But it's how you overcome that, and it's how you face that daily. So back to doing the hard work. It never goes away. It's just learning how to deal with it and to work through it and to get past your fear.
Yep. That's exactly it. It's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. I think the only difference is that when you do your affirmations, I do the same thing every morning in my morning routine, and every evening in my evening routine. I have a really great practice that before my feet hit the floor in the morning, I sit up on the side of my bed and I say 10 things that I'm grateful for. And every morning they can be different. But I do as well do affirmations, my I am statements, and I have 10 of them, and I say those every morning as well when I'm journaling. And one of the greatest things I've ever done for my self-love is, I've done the same thing as you, is I remember vividly how I felt when I was staring at myself in the mirror when I was 16 and I was eating those pain relievers, and how much hate I had for the person that was looking back at me in the mirror. And my why is very heavily based on never wanting to feel like that again, because that person didn't have the tools to be able to help themselves, but I have them now. And one of the greatest things that I've ever done is, if you ever get a chance, is to stare at yourself in the mirror, but don't say anything. Just stare at yourself in the mirror for as long as you can go. As soon as you start feeling uncomfortable, keep going. You're going to feel silly, whatever you feel, but just sit with yourself and be silent. And if you want to send yourself Care Bear stare love through the mirror into your own eyeballs, do it. But yeah, just to be able to look at yourself and like appreciate, get naked if you can, that's even better.
Right.
And just appreciate your body. Like lots of people ask me, how are you so confident being a bald girl? My alopecia has given me the most amazing gift to help others. Like we all think that different is bad and different is something negative. And I grew up thinking that about myself, but I've come to realize like it is the greatest gift I've ever been given, because I would not have met my best friends. I would not have met you. I would not have met Aaron. I would not have met my husband.
Right.
I would not have met the people who have had the most impact in my life. I've not been able to help other people. Like, it's just, for me, I'm going to like start to cry if I don't stop. I want people to know that different is okay. And different is strong, and different is sexy, and different is worthy, and it's beautiful, because every single one of us is different.
Right. Absolutely.
Every single one of us. When I do talks in schools about bullying and creating a kindness culture, I break it down for, kindergarten kids. And I say, if your best friend liked everything that you liked, life would be pretty boring. You'd only want to play soccer. Your favorite color would be blue. Your hair would look like this. Like everything would be what's the point? What's the fun of that? Wouldn't you want your friend to be different from you so you can learn from them? Like it goes as adults as well. Like we have to stop thinking that just because we don't look like what society calls beautiful, which we don't even know what the definition of beautiful is, because there isn't. Like you and I talked about this before we jumped on the live. Like there is no definition of beautiful. We're all just trying to chase something that we don't know what we're chasing. Like,
right. Hashtag F your beauty standards.
Right. Like
right.
there isn't. Exactly. Like
right.
You want to strive to find the place in your heart that makes you feel the best and makes you feel whole and makes you feel like a good person. But we're bombarded every day with media and commercials, and like I don't watch the news. I don't pick up beauty magazines. Like I don't read any of that because it's so destructive to your self-esteem. And I wish for everybody that they can find a place where they feel truly good enough the way that they are, because they are good enough the way that they are.
Right.
We don't have to prove anything to anybody to feel worthy. Yet we're shoved with this message down our throats every single day that we're not good enough the way that we are.
Right.
And it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And if a bald, chunky chick, I won't call myself fat because people are like, don't call yourself fat. I'm a fatty. I don't even care. It's not even a negative word for me. But I've had 2 babies and I've got stretch mark city and I'm 50 pounds overweight, but I don't care.
Right.
Because the weight doesn't define me. I take care of myself. I eat healthy-ish.
That's the key, though.
Because you have to take care of yourself.
You have to care, and it's not giving up. That's the thing.
No.
It's not like this, like, well, fuck life. Yeah. I'm going to be fat, bald, whatever, and I'm angry. No.
Yeah.
You have to love, and then you have to say, and I'm taking care of me as I am, because I'm worthy of taking care of me and living in good health.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I think that's ultimately we all want to, hopefully we all want to live to a ripe age and enjoy our lives and all of that. So
absolutely. But when it comes down to it, you just nailed it. Like it doesn't come from a place of this is who I am, take it or leave it. Right? Like
right.
It is, but it isn't. Like I said, I eat healthy-ish. I'm not one to pass up cake. Like if you say no to cake, we can't be friends.
Well, I like the frosting. Is that okay? You can have the cake. I'll eat the frosting.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Good. Life's too short to say no to cake. We'll just say that. Right. But on the other hand, like I'm not out falling face first into a slab of cake every single day, right? Like I still make healthy, conscious choices, but I don't buy into that whole if I lose 10 more pounds mentality. Right. Like that is an okay goal to to strive for, but that can be so destructive to your self-esteem because you're putting off your worthiness.
Right.
And I can tell you right now, when you hit that 10-pound goal, you're not going to change. Nothing's going to feel different.
Right.
Right.
What,
because you haven't done the work that's inside.
absolutely. That's the key. And, that's something that I struggle with. My struggle has always been in, the body image and the physical appearance. And even, today, literally, I still struggle with this, but like you, Vanessa, I'm working every day to overcome that and doing the work, doing the hard work, that because of the limiting beliefs that I have, that I was taller than everybody else, had big hair, was overweight, etc. I have to overcome those limiting beliefs and fight against that. But I'm going to fight my hardest because I will sure as hell not let that get in my way of success or define who I am.
Exactly.
As a successful woman, as a role model to my children, as, a contributor to my community and to this world, because I know that I bring a lot more to the table. So I think that there's so much power, in all of that. And that's why I love, just your message and what you share and what you bring, to everybody that you speak to and that you coach and all of that. So, I feel like we could go on and on about this forever. We are like completely on the same page. Someday we're going to have to like meet in real life and like, we should host an event. It would be like powerhouse. Right?
Yes. Where to find me.
There. I'm like, we should,
You're hilarious.
I'm planting seeds because I could see this being like a powerful event.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm completely in agreement with you that the number one thing I can tell people is feel uncomfortable and fucking do it anyway.
I love it.
Like I still put on a bathing suit and I'm like, ugh. Like that still makes me feel like, oh, I still look in the mirror and I think, oh, the back of my legs are full of salt. Like, but whatever. It's like, it's uncomfortable, but I do it anyways. Like I never want my children to remember me sitting on the beach. I want my children to remember me splashing in the water playing with them. Like, for me, it's just, I take myself out of the equation of how I feel in that moment. And I think of the repercussions that it's going to have in the future of my life and my kids' lives and my husband's life. Right. I don't want to be the mom sitting covered up on the beach, watching my family have fun.
Good.
I don't want to be that mom.
Right.
And I hope that strutting around in my bathing suit, will make other women, whether they judge me or not, I don't care. But I hope that out of all the women that are on the beach, sitting covered up, worried about how they look in a bathing suit, I hope one of them thinks, oh, she can do it, I can do it. That would be my greatest takeaway. If I could help one person feel a little bit more confident to do it themselves, then I've won. If I could get every mom off the beach, then it would be even better. But
well, I know you have by the work that you're doing. So
thanks.
I have no doubt that you're already making that impact that you want to make, and then and 1,000 times that. But I want to just give you an opportunity to share, where can everybody that's watching this, where can they find you? What do you have going on right now in your business that if they want to work with you, or, how can we be more connected and learn more from you, because you bring so much to the table, Vanessa?
Thanks. Okay, I got to remember all my handles for social media now.
Okay.
So on Facebook, I only have a personal profile. I don't have a business page or anything. I feel like anything I put on Facebook, everybody can see. I'm very transparent that way. So you can find me on just Vanessa McWilliams. If you search me, I'm not hard to find on my profile picture. On Instagram, and go ahead and friend request me is totally fine, or follow, whatever you feel comfortable with.
I'll put all this too in the comments. So
yeah, I'll put all my handles. I'm on Instagram, just Vanessa_McWilliams. I'm growing my YouTube page right now, so there's nothing really exciting over there. But you can search me Vanessa McWilliams on YouTube. Currently right now I'm doing tomorrow, actually today's Friday, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow. It's been a day. Tomorrow I'm doing a free Zoom webinar, which is all about your morning routine and setting up your day for success, because that is a huge part of growing your self-esteem, is getting a handle on your day.
Yes.
Right out of the gate. And it's so much easier than you think that it is. And I'll post the link on that as well to sign up. It's at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, which is, it's 2 o'clock right now in Calgary. And I think you're probably at 3 o'clock?
No, I'm an hour behind you. It's 1 o'clock.
Oh, an hour behind. Okay. So yeah, it would be 10 o'clock your time, I guess, then tomorrow. But I'll put the link in there. And then I also have a online coaching program that I've taken the best tools that I've used to grow my self-esteem and put them into an online course. It's 6 weeks. I'm just finishing developing all the last bit of it, but I've got a need for some beta testers, people who have not worked with me before. Yeah, for a chance to go through the program for $99, which is like a smoking deal, because that's just for obviously people helping me refine what needs to be refined. The only thing I ask is that they're open to constructive conversation, just to kind of give me some feedback. And for signing up for that, you not only get the $99 price, but I'll also throw in a half-hour coaching call with me at the end to kind of dig deep if there's anything that they really need help breaking through. And I can post that link as well to sign up. And that starts next Saturday on July 13th.
Cool.
That's when the program's going to kick off. And then if you want to work one-on-one, I'm always open to that too. That is the best way to, if you want to unearth some shit and get stuff done in the most loving, kind way. We can always work one-on-one, and you can just send me a direct message and we can talk details and what schedule works and how often you want to work. Some people want to do once a week. Some people want to do twice a month. So we'll, if there's a budget, we can figure that out too. And
awesome.
Yeah. So lots of different ways. And speaking of it, find me at VanessaMcWilliams.com. Kind of has everything.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
No, I love that. Well, hopefully some people will be able to catch the morning routine webinar tomorrow. Will you have a replay of that available if they can't go on live?
I will. Yes. Hopefully, if Zoom cooperates with me, it'll record and I'll be able to have it as a replay.
Right?
Technology gremlin some days are not my friend.
I know it. All right. Well, we'll make sure to put all the links in the comments below. If you are watching this and you have questions for Vanessa, please put them in the comments, put hashtag replay. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and also put the comments below so that we can make sure to get back to you and answer all of your questions as it comes to dealing with limiting beliefs, confidence, and self-love and self-esteem. I'm so glad that you were able to join me today, Vanessa. Thank you all for watching. This has been an episode of Sassy AF TV. I'm Hallie with Sassy Healthy Fit. Don't forget to subscribe at Sassy Healthy Fit on all social media. And I look forward to being with you guys soon. Have a great day. Are you still there? Hold on. Oh, I forgot to end this one. Bye again. I always